Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Erica.
Hi, my name's Erica. I'm an alcoholic. Hi. Wow, what a room. I would like to just start with the only thing that I know that I want to say, which is just how much gratitude I have today that I'm here. I'm thankful to my sponsor, Nancy, who asked me to come, and my friend Annie, who came from Hollywood to come see me, and everyone in this room who just looks so so willing to listen to what I have to say. And so thank you. And also thanks to the birthday people for sort of saying some great and inspiring things before I had to get up and speak. So that really kind of broke the ice for me. And I just find it so inspiring to hear about everyone's stories. And I've been I just moved to this neighborhood, so I've been coming to this room more and more, and I just really love this room. I just really feel like I walk in here and I'm at home, and I have to say this is where I would want to be on a Saturday night if there was anywhere I could be right now, and you know, that wouldn't have been true at another point in my life. I think that I'll just start. I know it's experience, strength, and hope is sort of the format that I've heard a lot here, and that really helps me because I think it just gives it gives an opportunity to just really be honest about where each one of us comes from and how we got here and what we found here. So I guess when I was 13, I walked up to my mom with a list of how many drinks I'd watched my dad have over the past week, and I said, I think Dad's an alcoholic. Look at how much he's drank. And it was really like, you know, a Jim Beam before dinner, or like a wild turkey on the rocks after dinner, and it wasn't a whole lot of alcohol, I know now, but I had this consciousness. I don't know if I, you know, saw a film in school, like one of those, you know, that guy thinks he can fly because he's on angel dust, you know, kind of films, but there was something about alcoholism, and so I heard the word and I got scared. And that was, you know, when I was 13, and my mom and I sat down and we talked, and she, you know, she was receptive to hearing me talk about it, and she said, you know, she listened to my concerns. She said, I don't think that he is an alcoholic, but I'll talk to him about your concerns, and I was just sort of, I was just scared of alcohol. For some reason, I knew maybe on some level that, I mean, I truly believe that I was always an alcoholic before I ever took a drink. I truly believe that that it's, whether it's genetic, how it's in my bones and my skin, I don't know, but I think that I always had it. And so throughout junior high and high school, I really avoided alcohol. I was scared of alcohol. I, you know, would say that I was almost one of those annoying people who would be like, I don't need to drink, you know, I don't want to drink. And I was very, you know, oh, alcohol is scary to me for some reason. And yet the times that I would let that go, I would drink to blackout, you know, and that was what I would do. And then I would, you know, almost immediately go, I'm never drinking again, that's ridiculous, you know, I don't drink, and I would run away from it. And I knew that it was something that I couldn't do like I saw other people do it. But then as I grew up, I just started to drink, you know, more and more, and alcohol became a part of my life, and I went to college and I was drinking, and I was always trying to quit. I was always the next morning going, oh, what did I do? I can't do that. That doesn't work for me. And then, you know, the next night I would do it again, and I built up a really strong self-loathing through that whole process, because it became this thing that I couldn't not do, and yet I hated that I did it. And there were many times that I actually tried to stop. When I was just finishing college, I had a friend, and I knew he didn't drink. I knew he was sober. And I actually called him and said, I think I'm an alcoholic. And he said, I don't think you are, which was a great opportunity for a 12-step that I guess he didn't take. But I, you know, maybe I wasn't ready, and I don't know why at that point my higher power, you know, at that point I also didn't understand the concept of a higher power at all. I didn't have that in my life either. So for the next bunch of years, I just tried to find every other solution to the problem, whether it was, I would try to work out a lot so I wouldn't drink as much, or I would try to, I would go to therapy and I'd try to fix my brain and fix my head so I wouldn't drink as much. And I never knew that it was a spiritual solution. I didn't understand. I would never have understood what that meant until I got to the rooms. I didn't know that what I know now, what I really believe now, is that that's the only way to recover from this disease, is to find a spiritual solution. And I didn't have that. And so, my story progressed, and through alcohol into other drugs, and I always had that thing, as long as I don't do this, I'm not really messed up. And then I would do that, and so there had to be the next thing that I wouldn't do, and then I wouldn't be messed up, and I just kind of kept, that just kept eroding, my boundaries kept eroding. And I ended up in a relationship with someone who, drank more than I did, used harder drugs than I did, so I could always sort of gauge myself against him, I'm not as messed up as he is. And I spent a lot of time, there were many times I told him he had to stop drinking or he had to stop doing drugs, and then I would support him, and then I would not do them too because he had the problem. And that took up quite a few years, and I got out of that relationship, and I actually heard, I think Alex is in this room, I heard a share the other day that really resonated, and it was the first time I'd heard this part of my story here, which is that I cut out, drugs. I cut out each drug one by one, and I cut out everyone in my life who did those drugs, and I made my life much smaller and much more careful, but I couldn't cut out alcohol because the other stuff I could just say, I moved from Silver Lake to Santa Monica, and I left the hard drugs in Silver Lake, and I just came here, but I couldn't cut out alcohol, and that's partly because I didn't have to be around people who used as heavily as I did. I would just be around people who drank socially, and I would act as if I were drinking socially, and meanwhile, I'd be nursing my beer, and I would know that I had a shot in the kitchen that I was going to go do, and then I'd come back and nurse my beer, and then I'd run into the other room and, take another shot and then nurse my beer. And so by the time I finally got to my bottom, it was truly a spiritual bottom, and I believe that it wasn't, a lot of people in my life didn't know that I was an alcoholic. I hid it really well. A lot of my external life still looked okay, and I still was able to maintain a lot, but inside I was just so desperately sad and lost, and I just started, every time I would drink, I would just start to cry, and I would drink socially, and I'd be, oh, I'm having fun, and then I would go home, and I would lie in bed, and I would cry, but I would cry that kind of scary, this is a bottomless pit, there is nothing else kind of crying, and I was, with someone who was terrified, and he asked, do I need to take you to a hospital? I don't know what to do. And I knew, there was a part of me right then that knew that I could not keep drinking, but I was terrified to stop drinking because I thought if I stop drinking, I'm really going to have to deal with what this empty hole is. And I thought it was just going to be this spiral, once the alcohol's gone, then what am I going to have? And I was really blessed. I mean, my higher power was working. God was working in my life when I didn't believe that there was a God. And what happened was my husband's best friend got engaged to a woman who had 10 years of sobriety. And so we would be at all the same social events, and I'd be doing this thing that I could hide from pretty much everyone else, which is nurse the beer, sneak the shot, nurse the beer, sneak the shot. And, I just kind of kept, I could see myself in her eyes. And I knew that she knew, and I knew that she knew that I knew, and there was this kind of thing going on where it was like, and that's what I think alcoholics do for other alcoholics. I mean, we know, it's like, I can look at pretty much anyone in this room and just be like, yeah, I get it, and I can hear stories that are totally different than mine and look really different than mine, and I can be like, yeah, I get that. That could have been me, that is me. And the funny thing is, so I was talking to her one time and asking her about AA, and asking her about meetings, and I said, yeah, maybe I'd like to go to one, and kind of just threw it off and almost like, oh, I'm just curious, and I came to a meeting with her, to a big speaker and newcomers meeting, which was great because I didn't have to say anything and I didn't have to identify. I just could sit there, and I just felt calm. Like for the first time I could remember, I just felt like, okay, here's people who understand this. Because I had gotten to a point in my life where I thought there was something so wrong with me, and I really thought it was something that was so wrong with me that if I gave up alcohol, that then there would just be this wrongness. I mean, there would just be this emptiness, and so I came into the rooms and I just stayed, and it's funny because I was sharing the other night about that, and my friend was there, and she said, I didn't actually notice how much you were drinking. It was, it was all I was seeing her and wanting what she had. I understand that now. I saw this serenity. I saw this grace that she had in the world. I saw this lack of desperation, and I was always desperate. I was always figuring out where I could go that it would be acceptable for me to drink, that I could sneak something and nobody would, it was always, my mind was always working like that. And so even though she wasn't looking at me judgmentally, that was what I needed to see in order to get here, and I got here. And just some of the things that I guess that I've learned since I got here, one thing that's really happening to me in sobriety is that I'm finding joy, and it's slow and it's trudging and it's, it's work, but it's making me realize how little joy was in my life the whole time I was using and drinking. And if you had said to me at the time, that there was joy missing, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Look at me, I'm partying, I'm having this great time. I thought that this was fun. There was a part of me that was really attached to the idea that I was having a good time. And now when I start to think about times in my life that I felt joy, it's times when I was a kid, before things got really hard and ugly, and it's times in this past 8 months, and this is how long I have. And so when I was asked to share, and I was asked to share last week at another meeting, and then this week, and both times I thought, God, I only have 8 months. What do I have to say? Da-da-da. There's people here with, 45 years. I mean, come on, listen to them. It's like they know. But, when I heard, like, the CHIP people coming up for 30 days, I was like, God, I want to hear what they have to say. I mean, and so I am starting to get that it's just one alcoholic sharing experience with another alcoholic. And sometimes I learn the most from someone who's here at their first meeting, who just says something so honest. And it's like, yeah, and I look around the room and it's like I see some people who are clearly finding so much joy in the sobriety and singing happy birthday, and we're here and it's Saturday night and like how great. And I also see some faces of people who feel exactly how I have felt, who are just like, oh, what am I doing here? I've been there and I'll probably be, I mean, it's not this like elated high fest, it's work. And there are times when I come into these rooms and it's truly contrary action. Like I truly have to pull myself off the couch and get to the Marina Center and put myself in a chair, and I'm like, and I don't want to be here, and I'm in a bad mood, and almost without fail, something happens. Someone says something that I needed to hear, or someone gets up to take a cake and there's such a miracle, and I go, wow, what a miracle. And then I realize that I am too. And so I guess what I've learned more than anything else, I'm working the steps. I have an amazing sponsor. And the sponsor that I found, I'll just say, I was in a meeting and I heard her share, just in a sharing meeting. They went around and she said something and I went, there was something about what she said that just felt like how I felt. And so I asked for her number and I called her and she became my sponsor. She was willing to, and that's how the program works. And so I would just say that's, if I have anything to share, it's just, trust your feelings in these rooms. I mean, I don't think I can I've learned that I can't always trust what I think is my instinct out there, because it was kind of skewed, you know, and my instinct often was to score and to get drunk and to do some really unhealthy and uncomfortable things and put myself in some really bad positions. So when I feel those things out there, I take contrary action, and if I can't do anything else, I just get my butt to a meeting. But when I'm in these rooms, I really trust myself, and if I hear somebody share that resonates, I just go over to them and say, hey, I feel that too. And I usually feel kind of stupid doing, I mean, I still feel kind of awkward, and it's not that natural for me just to go up to someone I don't know, but generally I find that that's the connection that we all need here. And so I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really grateful to all of you, and it's so wonderful to look around at all your faces. This is really nice. I thought this would be really awful, and it's actually really nice. And I am also, I'll just finish by saying I am unbelievably grateful to have a God in my life, and it's an evolving relationship. I'm just starting to really pray every day. Sometimes I pray as if, you know, sometimes I still don't quite get it, but I just pray. I don't have to be feeling some holy higher power, you know, all the time just to do that work and just to take the action, stay out of the results, and I thank you very much for letting me share.